Hi guys, my name is David and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about a book from an author that I've been meaning to get to for quite some time during 2025. I have a number of this author's work, probably about 10 books if I had to have a wild stab in the dark, and it's an author that I knew that this was like a vintage horror writer, but I had never read anything from this author and I didn't know what to expect. But I had a feeling that I would enjoy this author, and that author being John Saul. You clicked on the video, you know who I'm talking about. And the book that I picked out at random, because I got to start somewhere, is Guardian. Now, this is a really fantastic cover, and I had no um, idea whether this was a good place to start off with John Saul. I think I was just more intrigued with the cover as it looked to be a kind of a good work by this author, like a masterpiece by this author. So this is my first ever John Saul book that I've ever read, and I will let you know at the end of the video what I thought about it, if it was a good experience or a bad experience. Before I get the ball rolling on this video, guys, it is extremely hot today, well, over here in the UK, and I've got my door open as a result of that, and if you can hear noises in the background, apologies for that. So Guardian is a horror slash thriller book. At first it revolves around two groups of individuals. One which is from the perspective of our main character, called Marie Anne. She has got a son and a daughter, both very young. I think about 12 years of age. I don't even think that it really specifies that, but about 10 or 12, I would say. She is a struggling mother as she is trying to cope with the fact that her husband has left her and cheated on her with a younger woman. But after this younger woman, like, dumps Marie's or Mary and boyfriend or husband rather, he's come back crawling to her, begging her to forgive him and that he will never do this again. Her kids don't really understand about what's going on. They just want to have their dad back. But she is very, very cautious about taking him back. In fact, she doesn't even want him back. She only puts up with him because her kids keep on bugging her about him. And then on the other side of the coin, we have this family called the Wilkinsons. I don't know if it mentions their name on the back. No, I'm just scanning through it. It doesn't mention their names, or I can't remember their names. Apologies for that. But the Wilkinsons are carefree spirits. They are living on this ranch or this farm out in the middle of nowhere. They are living the dream and they are extremely in love with each other. They do have a son called Joey, who is a very, very unusual boy, but I'll get to that later. And Marie Anne and the Wilkinsons are both good friends. In fact, they made a pact with each other, like telling each other that if something happened to either one of them, that the other person would be the godparent of the other parent's children. And this has happened to the Wilkinsons after a tragic and very, very mysterious events that caused both of their deaths in horrific and tragic ways. Not too gory, but John does give you enough gore and detail, not over the top, but in a very, very realistic way. But it's kind of shrouded in mystery and supernatural elements and themes. So this leaves our main character, Mary Anne, to get on a plane and investigate this and find out what's happened to her friend or friends. And to also kind of be Joey's godmother. So when originally all four of them fly out, Marie Anne, her husband, and her two kids. But after a while, the father kind of gets fed up, as I think he's kind of fed up that he's um, made a mistake and he's not being forgiven, and um, he's got this burden over him and he won't be forgiven, and he just gives up and leaves. He's a very loving father to both of his children. He's not abusive physically or emotionally to them, and either not really to our main character. He's just very stubborn and stuck in his ways. And you even get the suspicion that he's just come back because he's got nowhere else to go, and if he had the chance, he would cheat on his wife again. So not a very likable person. So when Marianne and her kids are settling into the ranch and they're getting used to Joey, they discover that he's a very unusual person. He's a very quiet person. He hangs around all the time with his dog Storm, which you can see on the cover. And because they're in the middle of nowhere, Joey is always going out, day or night, no matter what the weather is, in the wilderness and having a wander. He's a very isolated and secluded individual. He doesn't speak much, he doesn't have any friends. Everyone at school regards him as being a weirdo and outcast. They make fun of him, they bully him, and they give the impression that ultimately Joey will become something extremely evil. But he doesn't act or do anything weird to our main character, Marianne, and her kids. In fact, he's a very rebellious teenager with her kids. When they are going shopping, they say, "Oh no, our mum said that are only here just to look, not to spend anything or not to buy anything." But he kind of coaches them to throw caution to the winds and to buy items. Now, while this is going on, the creature that attacked the Wilkinsons, Joey's mother and father, and attacking people that are around the ranch and the neighbouring town. And all these attacks seem to be in close proximity to the forest or the wooded area. And all these attacks are extremely vicious. They look like they are some sort of wild animal, and there doesn't seem to be any reason why this is happening, or any motive whatsoever. We discover that there's a strange man that's in rags. He looks very weathered, and yeah, he's got long hair. He's got a beard. He actually looks like he's been living and sleeping rough. And we find out that this man is living in the mountains. He's a secluded person. He's a hermit, and he is someone that just lives off the land. We also find out that there's another kind of I think he's supposed to be a Native American who is working on the farm, and he's called Bill Sykes. And every time that came up, I instantly thought of Bill Sykes from Oliver Twist. And he's okay. We don't know him that much. He lives in a separate building from the farm, but near enough. He's kind of like the caretaker, the gardener. He's the handyman or whatever. If anything needs done, he's the man to call. Marianne is investigating these attacks with the local police department. They are trying to kind of solve the mystery about what's going on, solve the mystery about what happened to the Wilkinsons, and trying to connect all the dots together. And this, I won't say what happens at the end because I never do that, unless I find out, unless I feel there's no other way of me talking about the book, unless I can talk about the ending or spoil the ending. But I won't spoil the ending for this book. But what I will say is that the end of the book is kind of like a double-edged sword rather. It um, left me satisfied and disappointed both at the same time. It was a fine ending, but I just wanted a little bit more. It kind of left it sort of on the cliffhanger. I don't know whether there is a sequel to Guardian or not. If you know if there is a sequel to Guardian, then let me know down below in the comments. But this can be read as a standalone, regardless of whether it may or may not have a sequel to it. And the book, as I said, the book concludes with Marie Anne and the police department finding out the answers to what's going on, discovering about what's been going on with this creature, where it's come from, who it is, what it's doing, and why is it doing this, to a certain extent anyway. And it kind of focuses on Joey at the end of the story when he's kind of descending into madness and he is kind of losing himself as the story progresses. This was a very interesting book, as I think I liked the writing style a bit more than the actual storyline itself. John's writing style is extremely interesting to and easy also to read. His characters are very interesting and relatable, and you somewhat care for them and wanting to know what's going on. The way he describes stuff is phenomenal. He's not an overly this book isn't really an overly gory book, but if you've read anything from Stephen King's early days, you know, like Salem's Lot or Pet Sematary or The Shining, John Saul's writing style is more or less like a Stephen King book in that era. But the storyline itself, it was okay. It was a very slow-paced story plot and storyline, rather. I wanted to have more stuff to do with the creature, and overall, I just wanted the storyline just to be a bit more fast-paced. So with that all said, I am really excited to read more from John, and I've got loads of his books to choose from, and I think I will go on to Darkness first, and that's purely because I have it in my room, so it's easily accessible for me to pick that book up. And what I'm going to rate Guardian is I'm going to rate it a 3 stars. It was a good book, but it wasn't a excellent book. It didn't blow me out of the water. Let me know if you've read Guardian and what did you think about it. If you are a John Saul fan, then let me know, was this a good place for me to start? And if you have any recommendations about what I should read next, or what are your favourite things by this author, then comment them down below, and if I have them, then I will, who actually knows, maybe I'll make them a higher priority than reading Darkness. But if you recommend a book, then please remember to make it spoiler free as possible. You can talk about it and tell me why you like that book so much, but try to keep it as spoiler free as you can. So that's been my video, guys. A bit shorter for a video, well, for me anyway. I'm trying to get back into the swing of doing these videos, as I've had a big gap from doing them. I have got another video that I want to do very, very shortly, so I'll probably record that sometime on Saturday, Sunday, and then upload it as soon as possible. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you in my next video.